Totally Football Show. Today, new man at Man U. It's keep calm and Carrick on up Old Trafford as Man United pick former star, continuing strong tradition of taking the Michael with their choices. Also today, League Cup semis, Arsenal and Man City looking good. Premier League weekend, we talk derbies galore, annoying transfers, Fulham, Grealish, and possibly El Sacico. And we get a look ahead at the AFCON final. It's the Totally Football Show. Thursday, the 15th of January, it's a big welcome to the Totally Football Show, which today features Benji Lanyado, Big Cheese of Pickfair.
Hello, Jimbo.
Tom Williams is here.
Hello, James.
Tom stepped in for Duncan Alexander, who is not well.
Yes.
Thanks, Tom.
Thoughts and prayers out to Duncan.
Very much so.
Bed.
And also here with us, listener with us, Art de Roché, we're spoiling you.
Good morning.
Carabao Cup semi-finals, first legs. Tuesday, Newcastle beaten 2-0 by Man City. Wednesday, then, Arsenal went to Chelsea and beat them 3-2. Second legs will be the week commencing the 2nd of February. Art, then, what did you have to say about Arsenal's 3-2 win at Stamford Bridge?
Yeah, not to sound any sort of way, but I think they'd come away a little bit frustrated that they gave away two goal leads in that second half. And if they had that going into the second leg, I think the mood would be very different. But from the way the game panned out, I thought they were dominant throughout. Obviously, Chelsea had some spells, but in terms of quality, I thought they showed they were far superior and they would feel that they should have at least a 2-goal lead going into that second leg. But others can disagree.
Well, Chelsea might feel that they should have had more or that Arsenal should have had less. First of all, if Robert Sanchez hadn't had quite such a bad evening. And secondly, maybe if Garnacho had come on earlier, Garnacho with a brace, the first coming pretty immediately after coming on, no?
Yeah, I had to kind of double take to realise he was on the pitch because obviously, as you guys will know, when you're working, you're kind of looking down at your laptop and then back up. So, yeah, I think from that perspective, they probably would have hoped Pedro Neto would have had maybe a bigger impact in the first half. But yeah, from Arsenal's perspective, I think they also had chances where they could have almost made it 4-2 with Mikel Merino late on. So yeah, I think not kicking themselves, they'll obviously be happy to win, especially at Stamford Bridge. But yeah, I think there would be definitely thoughts in the back of their head that they could have done better.
Yeah, just on Robert Sanchez, Liam Rosenior said something slightly curious after the game. He said, those mistakes are on me. I'm asking him to do things that he's not used to do. And so if he's struggling at all, then that is on me. But the things that he struggled to do were quite simple goalkeeper things, like field the ball and not push it straight into the path of the opposition centre forward. But I guess an example of, Liam Rosenior's man management doing his best to protect a player from
aged men.
Well, of course, aging men is a big part of.
I've not seen
Rosenior's. Don't watch it.
No, you should. He's quite adorable, I think. But there are thick wafts of David Brent about him already. He said that as a manager, you are a man-ager. Is that right? Have I got that right?
So basically, in English, the word manage is made up of the words man and age. So you're aging men.
That.
Yeah.
I love that.
But there's quite a lot of modern managers who give off a bit of a David Brent vibe. Mikel Arteta, chief among them. And I think young players find that a lot less cringe than I think
they love it.
Older generations.
So it's digestible.
We were talking about this on, I don't know what day it is now, but the other time we were doing a show recently. And the question was whether The Office poisoned any kind of sincerity or earnestness from any kind of authority figure for an entire, several generations probably. And maybe you've got people like Art now coming through who don't have that cynical viewpoint bequeathed by Ricky Gervais's masterwork.
They just see the inspirational,
exactly.
They feel the inspiration.
Man-ager. Man-ager.
A man-ager.
So you age the man. I mean, that's isn't it? Really?
It doesn't make any sense. And it's unfortunate because I think Liam Rosenior talks an awful lot of sense and has lots of really interesting things to say about football, and that unfortunately has been I don't even know where it came from. It seems to be some sort of Strasbourg era promo, and it has now gone viral in the last couple of days.
I do worry that he does talk an awful lot.
I'm not sure on that because people said that about Amorim as well, and I don't think people realise how much press the managers do.
Yeah, they just like talk and talk.
They're in front of the cameras, especially if they're on TV. They've got TNT or whoever it is now, Discovery. They've got Sky to do multiple times a week. So that's why you're seeing them so much, I feel.
And Rosenior is a good talker. The French media absolutely loved him. He charmed them all right from the off.
So this is an early take, and I should in no way be making myself such a hostage to fortune. But it's not the number of times he appears, it's how much he talks.
Okay.
I feel like he comes way too much towards the interviewer, and it's a bit too... It's the earnestness.
But then the modern coach, the modern manager is a salesman as well. Is selling his, well, I guess, hey, if Arsenal win the league this season with Arteta, that will be the revenge of the David Brenty managers.
Absolutely.
And they'll all end up talking like that.
Yeah,
I think it's bad
so.
now, James. Give it another 10 years.
Yeah.
I'll be able to move for inspirational quotes.
Let's hope so, eh? Arsenal, lots of good positive things from this, as opposed to the not good positive things. Kai Havertz featuring. How did he look?
Yeah, so he came on with Gabriel Jesus. I think the most interesting thing was they were playing almost as a two-man strike partnership when they came on. And there was maybe a little bit of debate whether Arteta should have made maybe a more defensive change to see out the win. But even though they would be frustrated with conceding another goal, I was quite happy that he decided to be experimental, if we want to call it that, and play those two together. I think when Havertz came on initially against Portsmouth at the weekend, it was like night and day in terms of Jesus started, and he was okay. He set up one of the goals, but Havertz came on, held the ball really well, dropped off into pockets nicely, played some nice passes in behind, which led to, I think, Martinelli's third goal, the hat-trick goal from the corner. So afterwards, Arteta was speaking about how much they'd missed Havertz, and I think going into the second half of the season, it's a real boost to have not just Jesus back, but Havertz as well, because it gives a totally different look and feel to Arsenal's front line. So, yeah, he only got 9 or so minutes at Stamford Bridge, but I think over time you'll see him a bit more, and Arsenal and Arteta will definitely be thankful for that.
Sure they will. And also to see Victor Gyökeres not only scoring but assisting too. Zubimendi's goal.
Yeah, what pleased me most was the awareness inside the box. I think sometimes this season he's kind of been a bit of a passenger in games, but last night, even in the first half when maybe he was a bit quiet, he was putting himself about for that Zubimendi goal. It was just, a nice little flick to the side, but sometimes the best things in football are the most simple. So it was nice to not just see him get a goal, which I think a lot of strikers would have scored anyway, but to get that assist as well, which proved to be pivotal in the end, I think was really encouraging.
Well, a 3-2 lead to take to the return leg, which will be on the 3rd of February at the Emirates. Chelsea, meanwhile, this was Liam Rosenior's home debut. What will be kind of top of his agenda ahead of this weekend's derby clash with Brentford? I
guess I was wondering how persistent Chelsea are going to be with playing out from the back, because Arsenal really put them under a lot of pressure when they try to do that. There are times when Chelsea centre-backs and Robert Sanchez couldn't really figure out what to do and just decided, okay, get rid, which I think was the right decision by them in the moment. But I'm just wondering, okay, what are the patterns you want to go with in those situations, and how easily is it going to be to kind of implement them in January when there's a lot of games coming?
Because, that was a real article of faith for him at Strasbourg, like more than any other team in France, more than most other teams in Europe's top 5 leagues. Strasbourg systematically built up from the back, and it worked really well for them. But he's arriving in the Premier League right at this moment where we're seeing this quite stark transition away from that style of football towards something a bit more direct. And it will be interesting to see how wedded to that philosophy he is.
Well, philosophy just doesn't really work anymore in the Premier League.
Post-philosophy.
We are post-philosophy. We've seen it like with Ange. We've seen it with Amorim. Like, you just have to be a pragmatist now. You got Pep playing 4 at the back. Like there's 4 centre backs at the back. I think it's slightly ominous if he's coming in with like a brand that he wishes to kind of transpose from Strasbourg to Chelsea straight away. And also, wasn't that kind of not the point of this kind of graduation through Blueco, that you kind of should turn up and be told what to do rather than come with your own agenda.
Wasn't the plan with him that he was hired because his football is so similar to what they're already doing?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he used a different sort of starting formation at Strasbourg, but it was very similar principles.
We'll see what he does, starting with
I would
Saturday 3
actually
o'clock.
say Arsenal are one of the best pressing teams in the league. So
Right.
I guess what we saw in that game was almost the biggest extreme that they're going to face.
How are Brentford on pressing? Because that's who Chelsea have got this weekend at 3 o'clock.
They're good.
Yeah, Brentford are good in many respects, not least being fifth in the table, 6 games unbeaten. Crikey. It's going to be, yes, an interesting test for Liam Rosenior. As for the other semi-final, meanwhile, first leg of that, leaving things a little bit more straightforward with Newcastle losing 2-0 at home to Manchester City with Antoine Semenyo again. That's now 2 goals in 2 games at his new club. And an even better one disallowed. Were the VAR officials a bit hasty, do you think, in disallowing that marvellous second strike?
Well, I mean,
is the appropriate
That
response,
it's kind of the only noise I want to make. But I thought what was interesting was that you had this interminable VAR delay during the game on Tuesday. But then last night in the Chelsea-Arsenal game, every time there was a VAR review, it took about 20 seconds. And I got the impression that Howard Webber's been on the blower and said, look, 5 minutes for a VAR review is just too long. People hate it. That's not the idea. And I hate talking about VAR, but here we are. The opening Arsenal goal last night was not dissimilar to the City goal that was ruled out. But after 5 minutes review, they disallowed it on Tuesday, and after 20 seconds review, they allowed it on Wednesday. So
Isaac Organ says, I'm a physics student, and we're taught from day one that every measurement carries uncertainty, no matter how precise the equipment. For these millimetre VAR calls, the combined errors from camera resolution, selecting the exact frame the ball is played, and parallax from camera angles are significant, sacrificing minutes of a game to arrive at what is at best a slightly better guess feels pointless. Can't agree with you more, Isaac Organ. I think in as much as you can be 100% correct, you are 100% correct.
is that a real name, Isaac Organ?
He is right. And the argument is, but I don't think then the solution is bin the whole thing. It's like when you get those sort of calls.
Bin it.
When you get those sort of calls, move on.
Yeah.
Give it.
It's the clear and obvious thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
So have a big countdown clock. And that's how long the officials have
Wow.
got. Come on, Michael Oliver, look at the pictures, man.
Even worse.
It would. Just panicked.
So, I think bin it. I'm not saying that it doesn't make some decisions better, but it's just in a fast-flowing and momentum-based game to arbitrarily stop things so you can have pauses to try and, like I say, it's doing an autopsy on a living thing and you end up with a dead thing.
I'm still long on it. It takes 10 years for any technology to kind of
How long has it been now?
bed in.
This is the 10th year, isn't it?
It feels like 10 years, even if it's not.
It's not.
No, 2019 I think was
Was
the
it
first year
2019?
in the Premier League.
If it's
Okay.
still shit in 3 years' time, 4 years' time, then okay.
I wonder if it will be Benji.
No, because surely they're going to
Chin.
iterate and improve, like as we've seen from one EFL semi-final to the other. They iterated and improved.
It's been 6 years, and it's taking 5.5 minutes to come up with a guess. I don't think it's going to get any better. But hey, I've been wrong about other things
I
before.
don't like it. I'm willing to wait for them to get it better. I don't like it.
Okay. Semenyo, anyway, that would have been a lovely goal. The one that was given, Raheem Sterling-esque, says Sam Lee.
It was
Really
sorry.
Sorry, it was a really nice knee slide. No, it's not about the goal, but the knee slide was unbelievable.
I was very happy to see him and Doku playing because that transfer. There's been a few of these this season actually that really annoyed me because you end up with like 2 amazing players in the same position, often like bought at the same time. So like. I thought that Semenyo was brought to play on the left and alternate with Doku. That's annoying. I want to see them both. And even in this game, you had.
And you did.
You had, that was nice. But you saw Trafford making some lovely saves. Like they bought him and then they bought Donnarumma. That annoyed me. Like the Chelsea strikers, João Pedro and Liam Delap. That annoyed me. Liverpool getting Ekitike and Isak. That annoyed me.
That annoyed me.
Man United getting Mbumo and Cunha. That annoyed me because they're all just same sort of
West
player.
Ham getting none of these players. That annoyed me.
Maybe that's why it annoyed me. But the point is, like, I want to eat all the food. I don't want to have to like selectively, eat one thing on one day and another thing on another day. Do you know what I mean? I'm not sure I've done myself any good with that.
I can't.
With that
you
metaphor.
summed it up brilliantly. Ryan Cherki was off the menu, but came on the bench. Came off the bench to make it 2-0 eventually. sensational 1-2 with his fellow sub Ryan Ait-Nouri. So there you go, 2-0 up. And Newcastle's record away at the Etihad is absolutely disastrous. They've lost all their last 11 visits under Eddie Howe. They're yet to score a goal, even at the Etihad.
And I think in this game, Eddie Howe dropped a bit of a bollock because they've got like quite good depth now, and that's a good problem to have, but it's still like a problem that needs solving. And in this game, he didn't start Harvey Barnes, who's on fire. He started Jacob Ramsey over Tonali. He started Wissa over Walton Mada. And like ultimately, in a game that it's the first leg of a semi-final at St James's Park, you've got to absolutely go for it. And I don't think he did. And he's going to have to get these selections right. They've got an unbelievably mad run of games coming up, including from the 28th of January to the 21st of February. They've got 7 games, 6 of which are away. Ooh. And they are away at PSG, Liverpool, Man City, Spurs, Villa, and then Man City again. So like, he's going to have to get these. It's one of the kind of real tests of the upper echelons of management, when you've actually got a lot of good players and you've got to choose which ones to play. And I think he got it wrong on Tuesday night.
I guess with that, it comes down to what the priority is, because they're obviously really close. They're 6.
Very good point. Yeah.
They're 6 in the league, so they're close to Europe. Obviously in the Champions League already.
They're facing Wolves this weekend.
So how does he want to, I guess, balance the minutes?
And I guess he's done an EFL Cup, so it's you know,
completed it, mate. And they played 120 minutes against Bournemouth in the cup at the weekend.
Very good point.
Yeah, this is all mitigating, isn't it? But still, I think
point stands
on the subject. On the subject of mitigating and team selection, should point out actually, and I maybe should have mentioned this before. The Chelsea side against Arsenal was missing Cole Palmer, Caicedo, Delap,
James,
Gusto.
Whereas Arsenal, to your point, went really strong. The only real rotations, if you want to call it that, were Kepa in goal and Jurriën Timber playing left back instead of right back. So I think you saw from Arteta how seriously he's taken the competition.
Quad dreams.
We're not going to go there. No, I don't think that's realistic. Hopefully one gets done, and then we could chat after that.
All right then. Ooh, match day 22 of the Premier League. It begins lunchtime Saturday with the Manchester derby. Ooh, Michael Carrick. First game in charge after his appointment as interim head coach until the end of the season. At 3 o'clock on Saturday, 2 London derbies. Spurs West Ham. And Chelsea Brentford. Sunderland Palace is also at 3, as is Liverpool Burnley, which is Scott Parker's first visit to Anfield since that 9-0, which spelt the end of his tenure as Bournemouth boss. And Leeds Fulham also mid-afternoon Saturday. Then at tea time, Nottingham Forest face league leaders Arsenal, who are 6 points clear. Sunday, it's Wolves Newcastle at 2, and then Villa Everton at 4:30. Monday, that bitter nasty Brighton Bournemouth South Coast derby gets underway amid heavy police presence, no doubt. Anyway, Man United, Man City, up steps Michael Carrick. Why him, first of all? Why Michael Carrick?
Well, they had to eeny, meeny, miny, moe between him and Solskjaer, and he got the moe.
He has had a spell there before.
We tick, I mean, like every managerial appointment is a reaction against the guy who came before.
Right.
And so Michael Carrick is a reaction against Ruben Amorim in that he is someone who knows the club, who is not a tactical dogmatist, and yeah,
You've run out.
That's what else? What else do you need?
He did okay in his interim spell there.
He did some really impressive things at Middlesbrough,
where he came in with them in a tricky situation.
He did. They reached an EFL Cup semi-final and claimed some impressive scalps en route. And then I think they get to the playoffs? Just miss out on the playoffs? Something playoff related, definitely. And yeah, you know, he is sort of emblematic of that very successful period in Manchester United's history. And
okay,
yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much it.
That's enough.
In terms of Tom's point on being, I guess, a reaction to the previous manager, I'm quite interested to see how he will use some of the players. So let's say Diallo, for instance, or Mbuemo. Obviously, Ruben Amorim being so free driven. Carrick, I remember speaking to, I don't know if you guys remember Chuba Akpom, but when he was at Middlesbrough, he was almost kicked out, so made to train with the under-21s before Carrick came in.
Chris Wilder.
Under Chris Wilder. Then Carrick comes in with Jonathan Woodgate as his assistant manager, and their first kind of few training sessions, Akpom, who's known as a striker, was kind of just drifting around, and they moved him to number 10. He had an amazing season and ended up signing for Ajax. So I'm interested to see if there are any players he kind of, reimagines, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because there are some players in that squad that can easily fit in other roles in that team.
Sorry, Carrick got Borough into the playoffs in his first season. They lost to Coventry, and then the following season they finished 8th, and he reached the EFL Cup.
A bit of trivia that blew my mind, thanks to my friend George. So Matthijs de Ligt has now had a different manager in every season of his professional career. So this goes back to Ajax, Peter Bosz, Marcel Kaiser and Ten Hag for the first time. Then he goes to, and this is 3 consecutive seasons, then he goes to Juve and it's Sarri, Pirlo and Allegri. Then he goes to Bayern and it's Nagelsmann and Tuchel. Then he goes to United and it's Erik Ten Hag, Amorim and now Carrick. And that is a unbroken run season on season since 2016-17 from Matthijs de Ligt.
And he's on a Ten Hag hat-trick, so there's that too.
Good Lord. The things that man has seen. This fixture, Man United, Man City, more evenly matched than I imagined. In their last 6 Premier League meetings at Old Trafford, there have been 2 wins for City, 2 wins for United, and 2 draws as well. So
yeah, it's a fixture that often throws up surprises, and in United's recent history, even when they've been really struggling, they've still managed to pull off impressive results in the derby. And yeah, City's record at Old Trafford over the last 10 years is pretty positive. It's a notoriously difficult game to predict.
Okay. One thing we can say is that Man United won't have to rotate their squad too much because this is all they've got left in their season. There you go. City will be hoping not to drop points there, and that Arsenal don't pick up points on them when they travel later on Saturday to Nottingham Forest. All right, you're going along to this game.
Indeed.
Forest not having the best of times at the moment, but this is not a fixture that Arsenal traditionally do very well in.
No, I remember being there a couple of seasons ago when it was the day Manchester City won the league in 2024 because Arsenal dropped points there.
Right.
So yeah, I feel like it's one of those stadiums where Arsenal, they have won there recently, but
They've had 1 win in 5 in all competitions.
But it's one where they need to really kind of check it off multiple times to feel maybe comfortable going there, especially with Sean Dyche as manager. He revels playing against Arsenal. So yeah, it'll be a really interesting test, even though Forest haven't been in the best of form.
Indeed not. 6 points behind Arsenal, along with Man City, are Aston Villa, who Sunday at 4:30 will be hosting Everton. Since Villa were promoted back to the Premier League in 2019, Everton have never beaten them. 13 league meetings without a win. And of course, Villa's so good at home. So good at home. They've only lost 1 of their last 28 matches at Villa Park in the league. They won 11 in a row at Villa Park, in fact, in all competitions. Crikey. Everton, meanwhile, only 1 win in their last 7 games. They do have Jack Grealish back from suspension, though.
And back at Villa Park.
And back at Villa Park.
Maybe to haunt his former employees. A stat about Jack Grealish that I love. So, I think like many people, I just love Jack Grealish. What do you think his best skill is? What do you think his best attribute is?
Passing the ball back to his fullback.
It certainly wasn't Man City. The thing he is absolutely best at is getting fouled.
Okay, yeah.
Like he is one of the most hacked players in the history of the Premier League, and when Jack Grealish is at his best, he's getting fouled the most. So his 3 seasons at Villa, he was the most fouled player in the league. Went to City, and as Tom says, passed it sideways and backwards for a couple of seasons. Now that he's back at Everton, who's the most fouled player in the league this season?
I have no idea, Benji.
It's Jack Grealish.
Is it?
So on that, I was actually looking at most fouled players earlier in the week because ahead of the Chelsea-Arsenal game, I did something on Saka and Cucurella because they're always at each other, or maybe I should say Cucurella is always at Saka.
Right.
So Saka was the 7th most fouled player in the Premier
only
League.
7th?
this is going back to the start of the 2019 season.
So
But-
since 2019 until now,
Yeah.
All those fouls were Cucurella.
But Jack Grealish was first.
Yeah.
So 2019 to now, he's in first place. Saka's in 7th. I want to know who the other 5
Yeah,
are.
I can get it back.
Since what season, sorry?
The 2019-20.
Oh, right. Well, so there's some usual suspects in there. Like Zaha was very fouled. But he was maybe off for a while. Iliman Ndiaye gets fouled a lot. Players like Dewsbury Hall gets fouled a lot.
Quickly on Everton, I'm not sure if this is a stat, but this popped up the other day on the socials. They've had 3 players sent off this season. One was for punching a teammate. One was for pulling someone's hair. And the other one was for sarcastically applauding the referee, Jack Grealish, although that was the second yellow card. Just quite the collection of reasons for being
Banter
sent
Reds.
to the showers. Very much banter Reds.
Okay, Art's crunched the numbers. And what do they say, Art?
Okay, so yeah, as we know, Jack Grealish, number 1, is
he miles ahead?
So he's number 1 on 528 fouls won.
Ooh.
And then second's actually quite surprising. Does anyone want to guess or
Give us a clue.
plays for Ghana? Or at least he did play for Ghana.
Ayew.
Jordan
Oh,
Ayew.
John Ayew. Okay.
Yeah,
He was fouled a lot.
He's second on 477.
Right.
Then you've got John McGinn, James Maddison, Wilfred Zaha, Bruno Guimaraes, Bukayo Saka, Ezri Konsa, and then Jared Bowen.
But in the age of set pieces, these
Yeah.
players are incredibly valuable. And Pep realised this. I honestly think Pep bought Grealish because he got fouled a lot. It gave him a lot of set pieces. And this was at a time where City had quite a lot of big centre-backs and Rodri in the middle. Like it's a massive advantage if you've got a player that's going to win you 6 or 7 almost corners a game.
And he does it by just carrying the ball.
Yeah.
He doesn't do tricks. He doesn't throw step overs. He's not really. He's not a massive shimmier. He used to be more of a shimmy than he is.
Fast forward 5 years, Anthony Gordon will be in this list. He's another one who's really good at getting fouled. Like he will leave his. He's with an England hat on. This is great, but he's done this a few times against West Ham, where he will just leave his foot where it shouldn't be, and he's effectively fouled the other player. But because of the way it looks, and if he goes down, the contact makes it look like it's a foul. Anyway, it's very clever,
He's about 13th in that list.
and he's only been like sort of a regular starter for about sort of 3 seasons.
Yeah,
So,
but to Tom's point and yours, when you said what's Grealish's like best skill, I wasn't even going to say step overs or something. I was going to say like gliding almost, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's players that glide with the ball, and he's one of them when he's at his best. So it's been great to see him kind of have fun again at Everton, because we've been able to see that again.
Maybe he will be having fun at his former Happy Hunting Ground this Sunday. Benji, who's got a trip to Tottenham this weekend? West Ham do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so this is
The Sakiko.
El Sacico.
Quite
Are you
me,
going to
maybe.
call it that? Are we
I don't
there?
want to. I like both managers. So I feel sorry.
You do?
I feel sorry for both of them. Yeah.
Frank versus Nuno, they are the bookies' 2 favourites
Yeah.
for dismissal.
I think. Do you know what it is? I think Duncan has very rudely on here previously said that when a player has a good game against West Ham, you don't know if they're a good player or if they're just playing against West Ham. Same with Nuno. Like, is he a bad manager or is he just managing West Ham? I think the answer is not the former.
Can both be true?
No, I think you look at his record, and also Frank. Like, you don't appoint a manager like Frank and then just like bin him off after just over half a season. Although my friend Paul said something brilliant the other day about Frank, saying going from Ange to Frank was like going from severe diarrhea to severe constipation.
Right.
Which
Wow, that's graphic, isn't it?
philosophical question. I mean, what's worse?
On the subject of the constipation of that club and yours, I note that only Burnley, Wolves and Sunderland have had fewer shots than Spurs and West Ham this season. Will this game be any good?
Probably not. We've signed some absolute randoms up front. Have you seen this guy Tati Castellanos? Who
I have.
I know he's actually comes with a bit of a reputation from Italy. And actually, he
scored.
He scored a nice goal. It was one of those goals where you're like, hold on. Somerville did a beautiful bit of skill. This is against QPR in the cup. Beautiful skill from Somerville. Lovely header from Tati. You're like, hold on, that's not a relegated club, is it?
Yeah, and Somerville's opening goal was a dazzling strike as well.
Yeah. But it's still, no, we're down. It's done.
Are you?
Yeah.
You're on your worst run since the 2006-2007 campaign, when it took something pretty special to keep West Ham up, as we discussed in a previous Totally Extra, that remarkable Curbs and Carlos season. Hammers have also lost all 6 of the London derbies that they've played in the Premier League this season. On the other hand, though, Dr. Spurs will see you now.
I don't think so. We're garbage. Although they've got, talking about buying players you don't need, Conor Gallagher.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. So should we just sit around and name Spurs holding midfielders? We've got Palhinha, Bissouma, Gray, Bergvall, Sarr, Bentancur, and now Gallagher.
But Conor Gallagher's way more than a holding midfielder.
Bentancur's
Bit
injured,
more
isn't
box
he?
to
So
box.
I think that's...
Still though, that's
I'm not
just
sure they'd have done
Gallagher
it
when
now.
he was at Crystal Palace was much more.
He was more box to
Yeah,
box.
so that's what I was thinking, because
Thrusts, I think.
you can't be buying him to play deep.
Can
not along with those.
But none of Spurs' midfielders really do hold, apart from maybe Sarr. They're all sort of box to box, aren't they? And here's just another one. And maybe he's there to sort of fill the Maddison gap until Maddison's back. That I accept.
But he's not
Still-
Maddison either.
No, but there is a dearth, a slightly terrifying dearth of creativity in the Tottenham midfield, and that will theoretically be sorted once James Maddison returns from injury and
When's
Kulusevski
that?
comes back. I think Maddison's going to be out for a
Yeah,
little while
good point,
longer.
Kulusevski as well.
And Gallagher is not a creative player, but he is someone who attacks the box really
Right.
well, has
Progressive.
scored goals in the Premier League. So I guess the thinking is you've got enough sort of ballast in central midfield. Here's a guy who's actually going to, get into goal scoring positions and
And I guess
give the
it's
team a bit of
it's a numbers game. If you've got 25 central midfielders, you'll find 3 that are decent.
Possibly so. West Ham won't have Lucas Paquetá, am I right, for this game after he declined to attend the FA Cup match with QPR because he's pushing for a move to Flamengo.
He's just such an annoying player because he's so wonderful at times and so lovable, and he's contributed to some of the best moments of my West Ham life. That through ball for Bowen in the Conference League final. But he's profoundly selfish, and I think that's something that we're seeing both sometimes in the way he plays as well.
Right.
He doesn't want to stick around to fight for his
be fair,
life.
He let us know that when he did that I don't want to stick around celebration back in August. No.
It was quite the opposite, Jimbo. It's just confusing. Anyway, whatever. I think it's kind of hard once the cat's out of the bag for him to come back. But and also this Paquetá isn't that good. The Paquetá we had a couple of seasons back, he was good, and City were circling with 50, 60 million pound bids potentially. So if we can get 40, 50 for him now, which by the way, a hell of a lot from Brazil.
Well,
take it. Yeah, I'll take it.
okay. Here's a fun fact for you. West Ham have kept 1 clean sheet this season.
All these stats, Jimbo, it's really painful,
1 clean sheet this season. It was against Forest back in August, and Forest at the time were managed by Nuno Espirito Santo. So Nuno has now gone 27 Premier League matches without seeing his team stop the opposition from scoring.
I think this game, perhaps more than anything, is just an example of how difficult it is for managers to take a formula that worked at one club and then apply it successfully at a completely different club. Thomas Frank, a very pragmatic manager who arguably overachieved with Brentford, is now trying to unpick all of the extremely intricate stitching that Ange Postecoglou put in place when he was there. Nuno found the perfect conditions for Nuno ball at Forest, and now has turned up at West Ham and found that he doesn't have what he had at Forest.
Basically, he had Murillo and Milenkovic, and we've got an absolute assembly of clowns at centre back. It's
Assembly of clowns.
The good thing about having Benji on is that it's often very tempting to be quite cruel about West Ham. But as a non-West Ham fan, you feel a bit guilty. You don't want to annoy them. But when Benji's here, he can say what often cannot be said.
Perhaps better times lie ahead, Benji. Meantime, Thomas Frank's former outfit, Brentford, are, as mentioned, at Chelsea, 3 o'clock on Saturday. Brentford, who are, 4 places above. 3 places? 3 places ahead of Chelsea in the standings. 5th, and they have a terrific record against Chelsea as well. The Blues have only won 1 of their last 8 meetings. 1 of their last 8. That's remarkable. I mean, everything about Brentford's remarkable. Everybody who left, the appointment of Keith Andrews, and Nick Miller pointing out that this game, which will see Keith Andrews up against Liam Rosenior, is a pairing of the Sky EFL. Is it Carabao Cup pundits? or Championship pundits. Is a derby of the two former Sky EFL highlights.
The rise of the talkers.
Pundits. Brentford, just amazing. They've acquired a striker themselves, 18-year-old Kay Furo from Club Bruges. They do have a good track record in picking strikers, though. At that time as well, we'll see Liverpool hosting Burnley. Scott Parker's first visit to Anfield. City got beat there 9-0 with Bournemouth. Kind of threw his players under the bus afterwards and then got fired by the club. His Burnley side now have gone 12 matches without a win in the Premier League, and they're facing a Liverpool side who were 4-1 winners there at Anfield on Monday night against Barnsley. This came subsequent to our most recent Totally Football show, so we haven't had a chance to applaud Dominic Slobber's commitment to flair. Tracking back, 50 yards?
Yeah. To be fair, I know the Barnsley manager spoke about afterwards and felt a bit disrespected by it. It's just so different that I didn't mind seeing it. Like,
if you were on his slot, you'd mind.
Yeah, of course. I think because obviously I'm a neutral, but yeah, I like seeing tricks. So
just maybe not in your own 6.
Yeah, maybe not there.
Anyway, that led to the Barnsley goal, him trying to do a back heel in front of his keeper and missing. But it ended 4-1, and Liverpool goes through to the fourth round. Who are they going to be facing? Oh, Brighton and Hove Albion. Oh, we'll talk about Brighton and Hove Albion.
Just another good night for the new signings with Ekitike and Frimpong and Wirtz all getting on the score sheet. There is a feeling that they are, obviously Ekitike found his feet very quickly, but the rest of them are now finding their feet as well, which is promising.
Against Barnsley.
Against Barnsley, yeah.
But Wirtz more so though, because he's for the last few weeks he's been very promising.
Yeah, and Frimpong too. They're all on form at the moment in a way that certainly for Frimpong and Wirtz they hadn't been since the start of the season.
Nice. I say we'll talk about Brighton. In actual fact, they're not playing until Monday night when they host Bournemouth. The other games this weekend are Leeds against Fulham, Saturday 3:00.
Meeting of two of the most informed players in the league, I think. So everyone's been talking about Calvert-Lewin. But let's spare a few words, and Tom, I think you'll like this, for Harry Wilson. He, in the last 10 games, he's got 6 goals and 6 assists. And he's developing a bit of a sort of trademark trivela, the kind of the outside of the foot. So he obviously scored that beautiful goal earlier in the season. That assist for Kevin, beautiful. And he's sort of turning into a choir boy Quaresma. I think he's fantastic, Harry Wilson. And long may his form continue.
Seconded.
On the trademarks, I think we've actually forgotten about one of his early ones, which was just hitting free kicks into the top corner.
From miles.
Yeah, because there were a few, I think when he was on loan at Cardiff City and Derby County, where I think the one that sticks out in my mind was at Old Trafford, which was in 2018, I believe. So again, I think we also probably forget how long Harry Wilson.
He's been around, yeah. But he's absolutely in the
form of his life.
And he's out of contract at the end of the season. 28 years old. And I was chatting to a Welsh friend of mine the other day about what kind of club he might go to.
Right. You're thinking Wrexham, aren't you?
No, perish the thought. Nice. Anything but Wrexham. No, someone really decent, like a leading English side, but a side who's going to pick him like week in, week out. So maybe not kind of Champions League level, but the level just below.
Well,
that.
I think almost for that point, he should just stay at Fulham. It's where he will play week in, week out.
True.
Their season, not just this year but last year, has kind of annoyed me because their squad is good enough to get into Europe, but they go through these kind of slumps in form. So this year was at the start of the season. I think last year...
is their squad that good, though?
It's got talent. So they've got Iwobi, Smith Rowe, Raul Jimenez, Muniz does well as well at times. Josh King too. I think they have a really good squad. So,
and a great manager.
Yeah.
The problem is, I still think that at some point he will be Man United manager and should be.
Really?
Like, he deserves another chance at I'm not saying United is the top table anymore.
Another punt on a moody Portuguese guy in a nice anorak after Amorim. I suspect they might be waiting for some time.
Well, the other one actually was their most successful manager post Sir Alex. But yes. True. Anyway, that's Leeds Fulham. Also at 3 o'clock, you've got Sunderland against Crystal Palace. How bad is Palace's form right now? Well, only West Ham have taken fewer points than them
Jimbo.
over the last 6 match days.
Punch after punch.
Yeah. I mean, this
fair
is
enough.
West Ham. These are the numbers. They don't lie.
Yeah.
Sunderland, of course, unbeaten at the Stadium of Light this season. And then you've got Wolves. Could they? Wolves against Newcastle. What is it, 12 points? Tom, I think you've got the table in front of you. Is it 12 points from safety now?
14 points.
Probably no then, but they're hosting Newcastle this weekend. Newcastle in a rich vein of form, at least in the league, 3 Premier League wins in a row, although they did get beat, of course, midweek by Man City. Wolves are unbeaten in 4 matches in all competitions.
And only 5 points now off
West Ham.
overhauling the famous Derby County.
Oh, right.
title,
Sorry,
which
yeah.
is-
How many points are they behind West Ham?
They are
8?
7 points behind West Ham.
I actually do think they could catch us. I actually
Do you still have to play them?
Yes.
Oh, you're saying Fulham with their squad should be challenging for Europe. Should West Ham be in the bottom 3?
Yes. I mean,
Really?
When you look at the teams that are there, so West Ham, Burnley, and Wolves, the team that I'm most, I guess, disappointed by is Burnley, because the way they started the season, it felt like they were going to be different than every other time they've come up and gone down.
Right.
And I think they really encouraged me in that kind of August, September period of the year. Whereas West Ham, I know they're viewed as a Premier League team, but
Look at that lineup. Look at that squad. It's nonsense. And it's like the other day, I think it was Liam Tame on here. Can't remember what you were talking about, but he sort of said something like, we were talking about data-driven recruitment, and he said something like, "Oh, everyone does that now." And I immediately thought, as I'm sure every West Ham fan listening did, we don't. We are an analog football club in a digital age, and it's kind of catching up with us. And this is a sort of this is something that we deserve.
Sunday, Cup of Nations, the final. Maher Mezahi joins us from a very sunshiny Morocco. How are you doing, Maher?
I'm doing very well. How are you, Jimbo?
Very well. Very well. Lovely to see that blue sky there. This is Thursday. We just had the 2 semi-finals. Maher, without being negative, I do recall that the quarterfinals, everyone was going, wow, this is the strongest lineup we've ever seen, perhaps, at this competition. Were these equally the 2 dullest semi-finals we've ever seen at the competition?
Yeah, when you get to this stage of the competition, teams can tend to be overly conservative. I think everybody's scared of making a mistake, and that's probably why we saw what we did. Particularly the first match, Egypt for Senegal. Man, Egypt again lined up with 7 defensive-minded players, and they didn't really have a shot on target until the 94th minute, which was 60 seconds before the referee blew the full whistle. So, yes, it was dull, but if you enjoy tactics, if you enjoy the intensity of challenges, if you enjoy just being nervous in general, then overall it wasn't so bad.
Okay, we had a goal in that game from Sadio Mane, who thus wins the duel, which is what the game was all about, with poor Mo Salah, who presumably has now lost his last chance at actually winning this trophy.
The Egyptian journalist reported that after the game he went and he gave a handshake to every single player, every single staff member, hinting at the fact that this might be his last AFCON. Sadio Mane said in his post-match man of the match press conference that this will be his last AFCON. Riyad Mahrez was uninvolved, but he also said this will be his last AFCON as well. So it does feel like a changing of the guard a little bit in African football. Those 3, they carried the weight of African football in the Premier League for the last decade. So a little bit of a page turner, but yeah, the way we will remember this match, unfortunately, it's very simplistic, but the journalistic narrative will be Sadio Mane 3, Mohamed Salah 0. Sadio Mane had the better team, he had the better squad, obviously the teammates are much, much better, but that's not going to change the way we remember it. And for Sadio Mane, maybe a little bit of vindication, justification. Salah can have Liverpool, but he has Africa.
Are Senegal going to be the better side on Sunday when they take on the hosts, Morocco, in what, Maher, I'm guessing might just be the biggest game ever held in Morocco?
Yeah, this is definitely the biggest game ever held in Morocco, maybe until the World Cup final if they get it, but if not, then whatever, quarterfinal, semifinal. This has been the most predictable African Cup of Nations I can remember in my life, James. The best sides have won the matches that they were supposed to win, and prior to the tournament, we all predicted Morocco versus Senegal, and that's exactly what we're getting. So, a predictable tournament with a predictable final, and Senegal will be the better side. If you go from player 1 to player 23, I think Senegal are definitely a top 10 team in the world, probably a bit higher than that as well. But Morocco have the home crowd behind them. Walid Regragui said yesterday when they had the 65,000 in that Moulay Abdallah Stadium, which at times in this tournament, particularly early on, has been a bit tame. But when they were like what they were like yesterday, you left the stadium and your ears were whistling. He said that's what we were looking for. That's Borussia Dortmund style. And the Atlas Lions flesh is very difficult to digest when you have 65,000 Moroccans in that spirit. Very, very literary with his Arabic, Walid Regragui is.
That's beautiful words, beautiful words. The game against Nigeria, the second semi-final on Wednesday, saw the Atlas Lions take an opponent who'd scored 14 goals in 5 matches and absolutely shut them down. Nigeria had, 2 shots in 120 minutes as the game went to extra time. Remarkable stuff from Morocco.
Exactly. 2 shots total, 1 shot on target. And Morocco have only been allowing 4.6 shots in total in this tournament, which is by far the best in the tournament. So this was really the cliche of the unstoppable force meets the immovable object. Nigeria were the best attacking team I can remember seeing since 2008, which was Côte d'Ivoire with Yaya Touré and Didier Drogba and so on and so forth. They were that good. And could Morocco neutralize them? And the answer was yes, they could. They did it a few different ways. So first of all, when Alex Iwobi dropped deep to pick up the ball and pass the ball through the lines, which he's done so well in this tournament, Morocco put a player right in front of him. There was a mix of zonal and individual marking, but it was mostly Brahim Diaz, who's not really known for his defensive prowess, that stepped right in front of Alex Iwobi and didn't let him have any space or time on the ball. The other thing they did was Nigeria have scored a lot of goals via their crosses, with Victor Osimhen usually jumping 3 or 4 feet in the air and crashing a header down onto goal. But every time that Nigeria were in a position to cross the ball, Morocco were bracketing him. They had a player in front of him and a player behind him, and he grew very, very frustrated to the point where at certain times in the second half, I think he wasn't even in the box. He wasn't in the penalty area. He was more lingering more around the penalty area, the D at the top of the box than anything else. So really a tactical masterclass from Walid Regragui in how to neutralize your opponent.
Morocco were a little bit neutralised themselves. The game went to extra time and finished 0-0, and then penalties came around where once again it was Yassine Bono who was the hero.
Yeah, and you have to understand the mental aspect of all of this. For Morocco, I mean, they've failed so many times in the past in the round of 16, in the quarterfinals. That's why the last match against Cameroon was so important. But even this one, they're at the semifinals for the first time in 22 years. And Achraf Hakimi steps up, for example, and they're down in the penalty shootout. And Achraf Hakimi, 2 years ago, he has a penalty. He clangs it across the crossbar as they're playing against South Africa, and they go on to lose that match. This time he steps up and finishes with a plum, to use another cliche. Really, I didn't feel any nerves from Morocco from the very beginning, which you could tell they were extremely prepared. And I don't think any other country on this continent does as well of a job preparing, whether that's, mostly the technical staff. I think they have no less than 15 assistant coaches. And so the preparation, I think, that's what translates into calm and steely nerves and a penalty shootout. So, and when you have a goalkeeper like Yassine Bounou, who ended up winning man of the match, I think it should have been Calvin Bassey or Naila Einaoui. But when you have a goalkeeper like that, that definitely adds an element of confidence as well.
So Senegal, the opponents then, as Morocco try and win this title for the first time in half a century. It's been a high-scoring tournament, Maher, but a little bit still waiting for it to catch fire. Do you think it's going to happen in the final on Sunday?
No. I think we're going to see much more of the same. Go look at the list of results of finals and AFCONs really over the last 20, 30 years. They're rarely ever decided by more than one goal. And I don't anticipate this being any different. These two sides know each other very well. These two countries know each other very well. They have really good relations. So many Senegalese living in Morocco, so many Moroccan businesses, working and operating in Senegal. There really is a closeness to these two nations and to these two sets of players that you wouldn't find so easily in the African Cup of Nations. So with that familiarity, I think they're going to be extremely cautious. I don't think it's going to be a great game for the neutral, but for the narratives, for the storylines, I think you still have to tune in, because for Senegal, this will be their third final out of 4 African Cup of Nations. They have a chance to win 2 AFCONs out of the last 4 as well. This is for them a chance to establish their supremacy. And for Morocco, 50 years without an AFCON. James, even as a neutral, even as a journalist, even as a fan, we didn't do anything to win the African Cup of Nations, but I can tell you that when Algeria won in 2019, I felt like I had peaked life. I felt like there was nothing better that could happen to me ever again. So it's just such a good feeling. And so for Morocco, they're chasing the chance to experience that for the first time in 50 years.
Amazing. Maher, thank you so much. You're going to be there at the final, soaking up that incredible atmosphere.
Definitely. Looking forward to it. It's going to be my 5th AFCON final.
Excellent. Maher, we look forward to catching up with you after that. Enjoy that beautiful weather in Morocco, and thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, James.
Maher Mezahi.
AFCON finals famously low scoring.
Oh, yeah.
Scorelines from finals starting in 2002.
Okay.
0-0.
Yep.
2-1, 0-0, 1-0, 1-0, 0-0, 1-0, 0-0, 2-1, 1-0, 0-0, 2-1. So if you're expecting a goal fest, you may have gone to the wrong Continental Championship final.
Well, we'll see. We'll see on Sunday. Of course, we won't be able to include that in Sunday's show because it happens on Sunday night when we'll be recording our Totally Football Show roundup of the Premier League weekend. And remember, as ever, you can watch us doing that live on YouTube if you fancy that. But we will include the AFCON in our Tuesday European Totally Football Show. So, yeah. Anyway, that's all stuff for future programs. Right now, this podcast comes to a conclusion with a hearty thanks to Maher, to you, Benji, Tom, Art, to J-Can, producer Charlie in the booth, and you, listener. Do join us again soon. For now, from all of us here, it's goodbye. The Totally Football Show podcast is available 3 times a week, bringing you all the football news you could reasonably be expected to care about. We've got views, we've got stats, we've got analysis, we've got some of the best football writers around, and the whole thing is absolutely free. So have a listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or all the usual places by clicking on the link below.